Good evening. It's been a long time, and because I've had an onslaught of things for the past month. Oh my gosh, it's been a month. So today, I'm just going to define terms and create a partisan voting index due to Cook's. It was last updated in 2010. Just a long time ago. And it was a bit updated in 2016, but using data from 2010. And even 2016 is pretty far out. That was 4 years ago. Now, first thing I'm gonna do is define the terms safe, likely, lean, tilt, toss up. All right. So let's start with some examples. Take Alabama. Alabama is a safe Republican state. It's going to the Republicans in the presidential election. Nothing will change that. It's just going to happen. And you can say without a shadow of a doubt that will happen. And then you have likely. South Carolina. It's a heavily Republican state, and it will more than likely, keyword there, likely, go to the Republicans. But there's still a chance it could go to the Democrats. Very tiny chance, but something could happen to make it go to the Democrats. And that's not going to happen, but, well, it could. It's feasible. I'm going to just stick in this region for, closeness for the Republican Party, for their calculations. All right, Georgia. They're the lean. Georgia is a state that it's been getting a lot closer, but you can still say Georgia, it's a Republican state. It consistently goes for the Republicans. It will go to the Republicans from what we can tell now. But that could change, and things will change, but it's not so it's not assured, it's not likely, and it's not barely. Lean is kind of the one that I wish I could, get rid of, but I can't. I prefer tilt for lean's spot for some reason. But yeah, with 270 to win, you cannot get rid of lean. You can only get rid of tilt, likely, leans. That's it. Tilt. Florida. Florida is a tilt Republican state. It's a toss-up state. That's a fact. Now, it will be close, no matter what happens, and it will swing back and forth. But from what we can see on how things are heading from out here, from way out here, like 11 months away, it's tilt. It will, from what we can see, go to the Republicans. But there's no way to really say that much. It seems at this point that it will go to the Republicans. All right, so I stuck to the Southeast for the Republicans. Now it's time to do a weird move, and stick to the Southwest for the Democrats. Now let's start California. Safe Democratic state. We all know California. It's going to the Democrats, without a shadow of a doubt. No fantasy can change that. No matter how much you may want it to, it just won't happen. It could eventually, but for this 2020 election, no. Who knows, I may be wrong, but yeah, I'm calling this one. Likely, New Mexico. It's a lot less likely than South Carolina is. Likely is a huge spectrum. South Carolina, for example, is likely because there's this minuscule chance that it will go to the Democrats. It is feasible. It is technically possible. Not likely, obviously, barely possible, but technically possible. New Mexico is likely because it's a bit more Democrat than tilt. It will likely go to the Democrats, but it's on the very low end of the spectrum. These two are actually some of the best prime examples for the spectrum of likely. Now we go to lean, Colorado. Colorado. That is a notoriously Democratic state. It is pretty liberal. It's possible for it to go to the Republicans, and it could happen. It's not. It wouldn't be completely unheard of. But on the other hand, it's Colorado that would take a lot to happen, but not as much as, say, a likely state, which is like you need a miracle. With this one, you need a good campaign strategy. Now, the tilt. Well, which do I choose? Nevada. Very close. It's a close state. It's definitely going to the Democrats a lot more. And heck, it may even be a lean. In fact, probably what it is, but I'm just using it as an example. Nevada, it will go to the Democrats from what we can see now, but we have no clue. It'll be close. Something could happen. But from the way things are lining up right now, it looks like it's going to the Democrats. Barely. And it could go either way very easily. Now, I can't really color Arizona in, but it's the very definition of a toss-up state. A state that we can't really say what it's going to do. Some toss-up states, you can go, oh, okay. So it will tilt towards the one party. Like right now, it kind of looks like it'll go to that party. Arizona, who knows? Like, how's Arizona going to vote in the 2020 election? I think you know. But you really don't really have that much of a clue. Especially at this point, based on how much Arizona has changed. Now, I'm going to use this to start out a partisan voting index. Now, let's talk about the Cook Partisan Voting Index. This is the map for the Cook Partisan Voting Index. Now, you may notice some issues. What are Indiana and Missouri doing less Republican than South Carolina, Georgia, Mississippi, Texas, and Arizona, and Alaska? Given Mississippi and Texas and South Carolina, they're probably less Republican. Georgia, Texas, and Arizona? Arizona, especially in the past 2 years, has gone way more Democratic than we could have possibly expected. And Texas is more in that lean category this now for the Republicans. So I guess we should just dive right into it. We'll start on the West Coast. Washington and Oregon. Well, actually, time to restart. I'll restart everything from a blank map. Alaska. Now, it consistently goes to the Republicans. And it probably won't go for the Democrats. It's possible, I guess. No. Safe Republicans in national elections. First, I will do national elections, followed by two other categories, which I will mention when I get to them. Hawaii, safe Democrats. That's kind of a known factor at this point. California, same thing with Hawaii. It's California, yes. I'm not going to go that in depth into every one. Washington, same thing. Oregon, same as the rest of them, as those three. Nevada, it's lean. In most elections, with how it's going right now, in like a generic Democrat versus generic Republican, no other factors except for where the map is right now, it leans Democrat. Now let's go to, well, Red Wall, Idaho, Wyoming, South Dakota, Nebraska, Kansas, that's worth getting back to, North Dakota, Montana, same thing with Montana, Utah, actually, it is worth getting back to, Oklahoma, same thing. Yeah, it is also safe Republican. All these states are, in the presidential election, you can reasonably expect them to go to the Republicans. You can have that as a given. South Carolina, too, even though I had it as an example for likely, it's still kind of iffy. Massachusetts, blue. I'm doing this in a really weird order. Connecticut, Rhode Island, New York. Oh, what's West Virginia doing over here? It's not one of the other maps I'm going to mention. Delaware, Maryland, and the biggest of all, DC. It is the most one-way state. You could call it a year out for the next 10 elections. DC is going to go for the Democrats or the Liberal candidate if, the party structure changes again. Oh, Vermont. Almost forgot to colorize them. Oh, okay. So these are the states I wanted to get back to here. Plus Nevada, but I already did that one. Montana. It can be close sometimes. Bill Clinton almost won it. And actually did won it one time. And then the other time he didn't. But it's these days more of in those statewide races, it is, but in nationwide, it is more Democratic in statewide races, but nationwide, it is safe Republican. Utah, same thing, even though there has been movement towards an anti-Trump movement because of the Mormon population there and everyone, but they actually have a negative approval of Trump. But it's still not, gonna happen. Kansas. Same boat as Montana. Exact same boat as Montana now, actually. Texas, that's another. I'll get back to it even later. Missouri. It will probably go to the Republicans, but every now and then in Missouri, there's a little wild card. And it goes likely-ish. Mississippi, it's a full safe, but some point soon, it may end up becoming more of a toss-up state like Texas. And how they saw warning signs for Republicans in Texas 20 years ago, and now we're going, 10 years out from now, they'll be out of there. Mississippi, we may be seeing more warning signs. We're not sure. Indiana, it is extremely similar to the state of Missouri. Probably more conservative, but still, same boat. New Hampshire. A lot of people think, oh, New Hampshire, that's a swing state. New Hampshire hardly ever goes for the Republican. Sometimes it does, but it's a brutal campaign. New Hampshire is like a mile down the road from where I live. More, definitely more, but still, we get their ads and we see their campaigning. We sometimes do me and my family sometimes do campaigning there. But New Hampshire consistently goes to the Democrats. Obviously, it can go to the Republicans sometimes, and it does get really close. And you would need to put in resources into that state. You cannot have it be a guaranteed funnel. Candidates need to funnel resources in there. But it is not really as close as some people believe. Maine. Similar to New Hampshire, except more Democratic. In fact, I'll color the districts. Maine 2nd District, I'll come back to. Statewide, like the Democrat. 1st District, safe. 2nd District is, well, iffy nowadays. It's sort of going into that Arizona camp. Like, wait, we didn't expect this to go away that quickly. But it's not as much. It is showing signs of coming back to the Democrats, unlike Arizona. New Mexico. Likely. As I said earlier, for the reasons I stated earlier. Texas. Likely. Soon it will keep inching closer to that toss-up margin. That also coveted toss-up margin that makes people debate more there and have more political discussion, and the legislations get thought about more. Like how a lot of times in states like New Hampshire, they get told a lot more about legislation than, say, right here in Massachusetts, one of the safest states in the Union. In New Hampshire, they get told by ads on TV and in articles. They get points pushed to them, both sides, and that allows you to kind of make an informed decision sometimes, hopefully. Georgia, very similar to Texas, except in Texas, it is in these states over in this area. Colorado, New Mexico, Arizona, Nevada, California, and Texas, they're getting more Democratic because of Latino voters, Latina and Latinx voters moving up from Mexico and from Central America and South America, searching for asylum in our country. And they're turning these states blue because, well, I mean, not trying to take a side here, which I have in the past, and it's been, I wince at that. The Democratic Party is the party that's not advocating for building a wall. Just saying. In the Southeast, it is because of a shift of the African American population. They're often moving around in the South and in the North, and they're moving around. Florida. Later. Once again. Iowa. Wait. Why didn't I colorize Illinois? That was a mistake. It was supposed to be categorized to the safe Democrats long time ago. Sheesh, I've been doing this for a while. Minnesota. Lean Democrat. It is getting less and less and less Democratic towards the Democratic Party in each election cycle. It should be worrying to the Democratic Party, but it was so heavily polarized to the Democrats and is now moving away that it'll take a while for it to actually get out of Democratic territory. Because it was once a state like Massachusetts, like, no brainer, the Democrats are winning that one. All right. Now, Ohio. I guess that's the next least closest state that's currently not characterized. No, that's Virginia. Likely. Virginia is likely Democrats. It consistently goes to the Democrats and is often considered a Democratic state, and is by myself. Likely or more, I would consider them, lean or more, I would consider them a state for that party. That's just how I rate it, but it's still feasible for Republicans to win. Won't be for much longer, but right now it is. Ohio. All right. That is lean Republican. It's closer than Indiana and Missouri, but it keeps getting more Republican. Sometimes it shifts back to the Democrats and goes more Republican again. It moves around a lot. It bumps around, and right now it's more in the Republican direction. But it's feasible to win for the Democrats. Iowa, similar situation, but Iowa's actually been, it went way further into the Republicans than Ohio did, and is now moving back to the Democrats more quickly. And could even be considered a toss-up state, and there's a case for me to move it to tilt, but I'm not going to because it's not that close. Wisconsin. No. Not gonna do that. Colorado. I can't believe I'm gonna characterize this one. Similar boat to New Mexico. Very Democratic. Less Democratic than Mexico, but it's most certainly not likely to change. What's the next least closest? Michigan. Michigan is tilt Democratic. It seems to be heading towards Democrats in this next election, but probably won't in the one after that, or the one and the 2 elections away. It may not even be a Democratic state anymore. It's a toss-up state now. It's gone into toss-up territory. And it may even be a Republican state soon. It's in a similar boat to Arizona and Wisconsin and Pennsylvania, except Wisconsin and Pennsylvania and Michigan are on one side and Arizona's on the other. Michigan is the least moved into that toss-up territory, but it's in that toss-up territory. Sort of, but not enough to make it full toss-up. Second, it's very rural, but it also supports the Democratic Party. That's why I would consider it tilt. And this map is just supposed to be used as a baseline for presidential elections that I predict. Florida. Tilt. No. That feels weird. That feels really weird. Characterizing Florida as tilt. Actually, no. Democrats need to do work to get Florida to go Democrat. But so do Republicans. but it tends to go a bit more in the favor of the Republicans. Same thing with North Carolina. Now, this is the final one. Arizona, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania are toss-up states through and through. So much so that I can't put them to one side. Like the other toss-up states, such as Maine 2nd District, Michigan, North Carolina, and Florida. Those are the other toss-up states, but I see them more to one party than the other. Now, you're probably bored. Pause the video. Go get a snack. Do something. I've been ranting for 30 minutes. Did you pause? Did you take your break? Here we go. Next map I am doing. I'm going to do statewide races with nationwide consequences. That means Senate. But I can't use the Senate map for obvious reasons because it only shows the ones for 2020. Uh-oh, spoilies. Let's dive right into it. The West Coast, unchanged. Along with Hawaii. Alaska moves into likely territory. With nationwide consequences, it usually doesn't go for the Democrats, but sometimes it does. Sometimes a wild card may throw in there. And it has consistently been a member of the Begich family. The current one is Mark. Nevada. Lean. Same rating as before. Alright. Now, I'm going to do the exact same thing as what I did last time. Color in the safe ones, because, I don't know, I'm a nutto. I mean, tests have proven that, and I'm not that much of a nutto. I'm just, a little off in my thinking. A little out there thinking. Abstract. Basically what I'm trying to say is I'm on the spectrum. And I don't know why I've been doing that with various weird switches. But I can't restart now because it's way too far into the video. Alabama, Tennessee. Actually, Alabama. Yes, its baseline actually is safe Republican. Sometimes a Republican candidate is so horrendously bad that it outweighs that partisan voting index. These two go there as well. Kentucky. That's a little difficult. All right, now for the Democratic states. Ooh. No. I didn't mean to do that. Wrong state. No, wrong state again. New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, Jersey, Delaware, Maryland. That's the first time I've accidentally colored DC from the full map. Interesting. There we go. This is our starting point. These states. Let's start with the least close one. North Dakota. It still goes in that safe category. Every now and then a wild card's thrown in there. It doesn't really happen anymore, though. The case is closed in North Dakota. Next, least closest state is New Mexico. Now, New Mexico is a state that it is, yes. It is a state that genuinely goes for the Democrats and tends to have down the ballot voting. So it goes similarly to what it does in presidential elections as what it does in Senate elections. Nextest, leastest, closest ist is Missouri. Believe it or not. No, it's Missouri and Indiana. They're a block. Indiana. That is a difficult one to call because you could say it still has that one spark where something, the tinder that a spark could set off. But in reality, it's flames. That's a weird analogy, but okay. I guess I'm saying that. Missouri. They, unlike Indiana, they still have chances, the Democrats, in Nicole Galloway and Jason Kander. They are Democrats that actually have a chance in winning these statewide races. One of them, Nicole Galloway, is running for governor in 2020 and can do well. Nextest, leastest, closest ist, South Carolina. South Carolina consistently goes to the Republicans, but recently it has been showing signs of, not so much anymore. It is still possible for Democrats to win statewide elections with national consequences in the state without an absurd wild card. Maybe some other factors, but I'm going to stick with that. No, I'm not. It's going to go full. It takes much more. Nextest, leastest, closest, Kentucky. Baseline. This is their baseline. Likely Republican. In statewide races with national consequences, Senate races, they consistently go for the Republicans. But that's not always the case. For example, Democrats have been winning races, such as the governorship, and it looks like they have a real shot at winning the Senate race from Mitch McConnell. That would put it in a similar category to Missouri. Yeah, I'll stick with that. Next is leastest, closest, is Colorado. They sometimes go for the Republicans, sure, but without outside factors, it does go for the Democrats. With some outside factors, it still goes to the Democrats. It goes to the Democrats most of the time, but it can still go to the Republicans without too much of a national change or a change in the state. Nextest, leastest, closest is Virginia. Similar to Colorado in how I would describe it, even though it's a very different state. Yeah, that's how I'm going to put it. West Virginia. Similar to Kentucky. But has been going Democrat sometimes. It has been going Democrat in statewide races for actually a long time. the sheer Republicanness of the state does keep its baseline at a lean Republican. But if you get a conservative Democrat in there, they wipe the floor. They consistently went Joe Manchin. He won many times. Next state on the list is Minnesota. It may actually be more Democratic in statewide races with national consequences than in nationwide races. It's a little quirk. It's a little quirky. Next, closest, Kansas. They've been showing Democratic signs of Democrats possibly being able to win in these statewide races. Still, I'm going to put them likely because they're actually in a similar boat to the states to their right. Physically, not politically. Physically, the states, if you look at the map, the ones that are right of them. Montana. It's in a similar boat to Kansas, except it's been going on for a lot longer time. And is more extreme. I would describe it similar to West Virginia. Next up in this list is Maine. Here is Maine. In New Hampshire, I would consider a block. Maine would be lean, whereas New Hampshire is likely, due to the fact that Maine often has sometimes gone to liberal Republicans. In the case of like the 8 terms or something of Susan Collins, New Hampshire doesn't really have that. Right now, who knows, that could change. It's New Hampshire, things change. Well, things don't really change, but sometimes they do. It's complicated. Next up on the list, Georgia. Is Georgia. Wait, why the heck did I colorize? Oh, just of course I have it. Georgia. In statewide races, its baseline is likely Republican. That's infactual. It's lean. Sorry, I'm just having tiredness. Oh my God, 40-minute video. Florida. No, they're not the next one. The actual next one is Michigan. Like Minnesota, they're more Democratic in statewide races with national consequences than in presidential elections. Lean Democrat. Next state up on the list is Texas, very similar to Georgia. So I'm going to say I'm running out of time. I really shouldn't have stretched this video out that much. I did not. I thought it was going to be like a 10-minute video, and I'm entering 40 minutes. Wisconsin. They're not the next state. They are, actually. They're surprisingly in statewide races with national consequences. More Democratic than Michigan, despite normally being a toss-up state. I have no clue. States choose different in statewide races. Things are strange sometimes. Next up, Ohio. Often going through Republicans all the time. it's still possible for a Democrat and sometimes even easy. But, still Ohio at the end of the day. Toss up. No, lean. It's in a similar boat to Ohio, just a bit less Republican. Bit. Keyword there is bit. Pennsylvania. Same boat as Michigan. North Carolina. Tilt to the Republicans. That's its baseline. Florida. Lean to the Republicans. Arizona. No, not gonna do that. No. Now, I was gonna do a third map. Statewide races with statewide consequences. But looking at this map, I think it's the same. Anyways, I don't have enough time. Gotta go.